All right. Hello and good evening. Welcome, everybody. It is I, Jax, your friendly neighborhood wordsmith, coming to you live from the comfort of their own home and your own home. This is Night Writes, our very chill Wednesday night writing stream. How it works is pretty simple. If you're on Blue Sky, consider clicking that link. It'll take you right to our chat room. You can say whatever you'd like in the chat so long as it doesn't make other people uncomfortable, aka don't be a creeper, or violate YouTube's TOS. As in, don't violate YouTube's TOS. I will read the things that you post aloud and respond to them. That is the social part of it. If you're a little bit shy, as most people are, there is always going to be an icebreaker. Tonight's icebreaker is pretty simple. What do you do to avoid distractions? What's your best tip for beating distractions? Pop your answer into the chat while I continue on in the spiel. In less than 30 minutes, we will begin the first of our 3 sprints. We are only doing 3 tonight because I'll tell you in a moment. But in the top left-hand corner of the screen, if you follow my cursor right here, you will see a bunch of timers. Traditionally, word sprints can be anything that you want, but ours run for a good old-fashioned 20-minute sprint. During these sprints, the idea is that you're supposed to be writing as much as possible during those 20 minutes. However, we like to take things a little bit loose. You can do whatever you want, however you want. Our only rule is that you do something that improves your life in some way, whether it's writing, editing, art, just chilling out, doing laundry, whatever you like, so long as it improves your life in some way. At the end of those 20 minutes, we will take a 15-minute break. I will be talking to you during those 15 minutes, but you don't have to be around for that. I would actually highly recommend that you do not be around. Get up, stretch, make sure that you have water. Do whatever you'd like to do in those 15 minutes, but just take that break. Come back. And then at the end of those 15 minutes, we will start in on our next sprint, and we will continue on with that cycle until we've hit 3 sprints, after which we will say our good nights. That having been said, yes, we are only going to be doing 3 sprints today, just because I don't even know how it managed, how I got to 8:30, guys. It's been a long, long day. I know that I only put in so many hours, technically 9 hours of work, but it feels like the entire day just slipped by. So I have yet to actually take a shower, and I've at least eaten dinner, so there's that. But it feels like today just slipped by. Um, that and I'm feeling okay, better than I have been yesterday or the day before. So basically, and hello, Cryptic. I will tell you all the shenanigans that have happened since Saturday. So when we last left, Saturday, it was going to be a full day for me, right? That was going to consist of baking bread, then giving Benjamin a bath, then doing some cleaning, and then the next day I would go and pick up my parents from the train station and just sort of hang out with them for a day until they went off to go fly to the Philippines. And they're in the Philippines right now, so that's excellent. However, that was a lot of hand washing in between each step of that, so I dried out my skin pretty heavily. And I think this is what it is. But between that and actually, this is only part of it. So let's see. The next day, it was tidying up the bathroom, which is more chemicals. And then immediately after, I went into town. And I went from St. Mark's Place all the way up to. I went to St. Mark's, which is where I bought tea. Then I marched myself all the way up by foot to Penn Station, which, if you don't know, is about 30 city blocks in between. So there was my exercise for the day. And then it was all about helping my parents haul basically a whole bunch of stuff from the train station all the way out to New Jersey, entertaining them for the night, making sure they were settled in, making sure that they had everything. Next day, my mom cleaned while I worked, but it was like kicking up all kinds of dust, which I'm allergic to. Then halfway through, the power goes out. And so that was fun. And then partway through that, so basically, it was even on during that entire day. It was like storms like constant storms were predicted. It was gales and severe thunderstorms, that kind of thing. So I was already like, oh shit. Well, now I need to coordinate because I have to get my parents off to the airport somehow. They were going to order an Uber because they're suburban people. They don't fully understand city life, I guess. Like they were not to rant, but my parents had actually expected me to bring them back from the airport, and then they dropped it on me that they were landing. They'll be landing next week at 10:30 at night. And like, if you don't know, 10:30 at night when you're trying to commute out of New York City is really difficult. So for those of you who don't know, I just doxed myself. But yes, all those cute shots of Benjamin are not taken in New York City proper. I still consider myself New York City resident because it's all the New York metro area. It's the same difference. And if you can see New York City, you're basically there. But in any case, I do live where the rent is cheaper, let's just say. But point is, there was a lot of stress, and partway through, they were replacing a transformer that had gone bad, so that's why the power was out. But it's like great timing, excellent. And then I get a knock on my door from my neighbor saying, "Hey, people are smelling gas, or somebody smelled gas." And I was like, "Go outside with my parents, who have dragged a bunch of shit to my apartment when it's predicted thunderstorms all day long and the power is out and there's gas." So it's like the most stressful moment that I've had in a while. So there's that. And then to cap things off, my mom had actually given me these soft gel vitamin D supplements. So that night, after I saw my parents off finally, and as they were driving, meandering in the Uber, they had actually gotten an Uber, but it took like half an hour to get for somebody to come up from Hoboken, an actual taxi for to come up from Hoboken to pick them up and then take them across the river while it was fucking torrential rain. Understandable, right? But it took them like 2.5 hours to get there, I guess. And in the meantime, my mom had given me these vitamin D pills, and because my doctor had said, "Hey, you have a vitamin D deficiency right now," or like, "You need to take more vitamin D." So I'm like, cool. I read the back of the instructions, I pop a pill, everything seems fine and dandy. And that night I go to wash my hands and I'm like, why is there a fucking rash on my right arm? So the next morning, basically, I wake up, ovaries still acting up, so pain because of stress and ovary and like the whole bunch of stuff that had happened thus far, and a rash on my arm. Um, the rash is still kind of there, but as far as I can tell, it's probably because of shit ton of exposing my arm to like a shit ton of chemicals and stress. So I'm treating it with it is slowly going away, but it is a matter of treating myself with lotions and exfoliation and hoping to God that's it. It's not spreading, it's not doing anything, it's just there. Like my like there's chicken bumps and I'm like I've just run through the ringer, and then of course it's a work week. And of course there's a pile of work. And of course I'm getting blamed for shit I didn't do. And of course, I have to do overtime to fix things that I can't actually fix because of the limitations of the software that I'm using. And it's like, there are a lot of things that are out of your control. And it's difficult, but Cryptic says, I hope you can get a good rest in soon. I'm trying. I'm not taking my usual chamomile, which is funny because I had spent so much money on chamomile tea on the day that I had gone out. Like actual chamomile tea, it's the actual flower buds that you just steep in water. And it's so, I'd had one cup and it's so good, but that was the night that I broke out into hives. I'm like, hives, rash, whatever you want to call it. And it's like, I am doing absolutely no chemicals other than what I have to take. And even then, I might call my doctor to ask to be switched back in terms of birth control because I was reading about the type that I'm taking now, and apparently it's a known problem, what I'm experiencing right now. Um, but yeah, I wish or I hope that I get some rest soon, or at least I've been sleeping okay even without the chamomile. But I miss having chamomile. I miss having I'm doing like I said, I'm doing no chemicals whatsoever. Nothing out of the ordinary except for food, water, and the one medication that I have to take. And I'm just sort of like trying to reset my body. I'm trying to take it as easy as possible. I'm going outside every single day so that I can walk and get some natural vitamin D. Um, but it has been rough. And what can you do? Like, I'm just going to chill as much as possible and pace myself, get to bed at a reasonable hour, wake up at a reasonable hour, and try to socialize a little bit more. Um, Yesterday it was rough as well because there were, you know, I was too late to talk to anybody in the FC, so I'm talking to you all. Hello out there. Hello, Cryptic. Um, but hey, what can you do? Uh, I will say this. Somebody's starting a group chat in my building, and this is the first time where I've ever actually considered joining one. Um, just because I feel like I kind of need it more than usual. Like the last time I lived alone, I was actually commuting to an office, so it was sort of like I would see people every day, and I would talk to people every day, whether I wanted to or not. Um, but nowadays, it's sort of like, first off, it's the entire dipshit thing. Second off, I work from home, so like this is the first time that I've spoken to. Well, actually, that's a lie. I went outside and I took stuff to dry cleaners, and that was like my only human interaction for the day. It's sort of like, that's sad. I need more human interaction, so I might join that and just like try to find other things to talk to because I don't know, like one thing that I've learned recently from Blue Sky at least is that Blue Sky is not a it's an okay it's a better social media platform than I've been on in a long while. Like the last time I've had really good human interactions on the internet other than a forum was well even on a forum like we won't talk about the late stage forum shit, but like before then it was like LiveJournal where I can talk to people and I felt like I was like connecting to people. But Tumblr, I did not feel like that all that much. And then from Tumblr, it went into Blue Sky, whole smattering of different stuff, but Blue Sky as well. And even on Blue Sky, like there are people who are my friends, absolutely, and I feel like I do have better connections. Uh, and I do have to say this: there were definitely toxic things, toxic people that I've encountered on Blue Sky. And in fact, why I'm bringing this up is because I keep on thinking about these toxic people. Like there are plenty of people I've encountered who were very entitled and have used um, marginalization to support their entitlement, basically. Like, you know me, like, I am multi marginalized. I am queer. I am gender weird, basically. I'm Jewish. I'm mixed race. And I'm mixed race in a way that if you saw my face, a lot of people, you know, instantly recognize that I'm not fully white. So like you might see pictures of like my hand and it looks pale, but it's like that doesn't mean anything. You have to actually kind of look at me. But anyway, I say this though, but it's sort of like there are people who assume that I'm not these things and treat me as subhuman because they think that they can. And I have encountered a couple of instances of that uh, online where people have invalidated my experiences uh, because they thought they could. Because they thought that their identities validated them to do so. And I don't jive well with that because I feel like if it in those cases, some people are only out to perpetuate oppression because then that narrative allows them to continue to treat others as subhuman, like treat strangers as subhuman, and or it like they want to perpetuate oppression because their identity as a minority empowers them in a way that would be invalidated if were actually working towards a future in which we eliminated oppression, ironically. So it's sort of like it's that weird kind of niche. And it frustrates me, and I keep thinking about that and thinking about why I can't click with things like rage narratives. And I apologize if this makes people look at me differently, but like I, it's why I can't really gel well with rage narratives like women's rage. Oh, this story is about female rage, and it's like I don't find that empowering. And I've mentioned this on past streams because there has to be an afterwards, you know? Like if you raise the countryside, then what do you have left, right? Like raise if you burn down everything around you, then then something has to come after, and you have to be kind of like ready to switch over. And some people want to just burn; they don't want to nurture, and I find that tiring. And and it's mostly an attitude that I encounter online because I'm thinking also about how New York City is. Like, I had conversations with my family over the weekend about politics and the nature of New York City. And one of the things I have learned while living here is that it's a much different place than you would expect. Um, a lot of people here are far different than you would expect. Like online, you might see people who, like in online spaces, uh, in communities where you talk about politics, there are always people who are like, I all I want to do is burn. But offline, you find people who are like, I do want to fight, but it's because there's going to be an afterwards. Like, and they'll be like, you are my neighbor, and I will help you, and I want to reach out to you. I want to be with you, and the world is hard, but for us, we can make things better. And the world is burning, but if you take my hand, then we will get through it together. That is basically the New York way, because like everything in New York is very difficult. It's a lot here. It's rent is high. Uh, Stuff is happening all around us. We're living essentially on top of each other, but you will always have people who are like who would definitely like if you need help. The you know New Yorkers will kind of like if you very clearly need help, they will help you, and because you're neighbors. And yeah, absolutely, there are also shithead New Yorkers who are like, yeah, I will take all the money. Like if you go into Central Park, there will be people who are like, yeah, how do you want to buy these five very stale sticks of candy for like $20? It's definitely helping a high school. Wink, wink. That high school does not exist, by the way. Don't ever buy candy from some dude who's wandering around with a half-open Costco box. Okay. Um, but anyway, yeah, there are those people, but it's because they prey on people who are not around here and who don't understand New York kindness. But if you are here and you want to be here and you're not here to be a tourist, you're here to live and be a part of the community, then you will find kindness and you will find some of the chillest and kindest people that you will ever meet. And it is kind of funny that I say that because like when I first came here, I was a Bostonian through and through, so it took me years and years to actually feel like I wanted to be here. But New York City is full of so many different people, and I was explaining to uh, my parents that it's like it's not what you see in in the movies. It's like it's not even white, to be honest with you. Like most of the people that I've met here, they're from the Caribbean. They're from they're actually from Asia. There are so many different cultures coming together, and they're the kindest people that you will meet. But online spaces, online politics will have you believe that people will want you separate. They will like that you will never be welcome as a community, and you will never be able to trust your neighbors. They will have you believe that everything is terrible and that the only person that you can trust is yourself. But stepping outside of that, you will find people, and it's scary, absolutely. Like I'm I'm very much struggling, but there are good people out there, and it's so much better to be out there and with people than to be angry and forever online. In my opinion, anyway. But anyway, Cryptic says, in my opinion, rage stories need to address what happens after the reason for your rage is dealt with. Or it's just like, okay, cool, what's left for you now, though? Exactly. Uh, and sometimes it's sort of like some people will want to burn, and when they have nothing left to burn, they will burn each other. And sometimes I find that rage authors would do just that, to be honest with you. It's why I don't really gel well with them. Uh, I've I can't say that for everybody. Like I'm sure that there are rage authors out there that I would love to have coffee with and that I can sit down with, but a lot of them are just sort of like a lot of the ones that I've met are the I will burn everything, and when there's nothing left to burn, I will burn everything who stands with me. And it's like Yeah. Cryptic says, honestly, that's kind of why I love Karlach's story in BG3. No spoilers unless you want to know. I'm still in Act 1, but I have met Karlach, and I've started her story. So I kind of know where it's going, but if we're talking like further, then yeah, it would be a spoiler. But again, I also don't mind spoilers. I do also apologize for like kind of shitting on a lot of people and kind of like I'm trying my hardest to phrase this in a way that makes sense and doesn't kind of show off my own privilege because yes, I am privileged. Uh, but I'm just very tired of being treated as subhuman by people who make assumptions about me because I don't broadcast every single part of myself and therefore I don't reveal my entire experience. Like, I don't know. And it's always people who are always online, like who don't have anywhere else to go but online. And it's very frustrating. But Cryptic says, I'm specifically referencing how it ends. Oh. I need to pick up BG3 again, for sure. And Cryptic says, listen, not every story is for everyone. Yeah, that's very true. And rage stories do have their place. They're very cathartic, and for the people who write them, they need that outlet, for sure. There's a reason why they're writing it. In my opinion, the best kind of writing is the kind that serves as an outlet for the author and speaks very true to who they are and what they believe in, but more importantly, speaks very true to what they feel. I feel that that's true for all art, to be honest with you. The best art comes from a place where the artist is speaking a truth about themselves or the way that they perceive the world. But yeah, I don't mean to say to shit on people who are basically on my side because I fully acknowledge that there are a lot of people out there in spaces who there are a lot of people out there who don't fully understand our experiences and either don't want to or they speak for us. And I do agree that there are instances where that's frustrating. I also don't feel that it's productive to be like just burn everything, you know? I don't feel that it's productive to say there is no point in having conversations and working towards a better tomorrow because X, Y, and Z will never change. Like, there's always going to be a thereafter. But I do apologize. Don't mean to be political this early on, but I think it's part of what's on my mind right now. I am working through a lot, and I will eventually break on through and reach out to people and get better. But I am a little bit gloomy today, and I will cheer up a little bit because I'm still coming down from working, I guess. But without further ado, though, it is 9 p.m., so I will shut up about all the doom and gloom, and hopefully after this first sprint, I will feel immensely better to be alive and to be here with you guys, and just in general to be working on stuff again. So, that said, back straight in your chair, deep breath in, let it out. One more deep breath in, and let it out. 20 minutes are on that first clock. Get ready, get set, and here we go. that is the first of 3 sprints. How did we do? So I admit a couple things, but first, it is 526 words, most of which was editing. But I will say that I was kind of looking forward to this bit. This is the part where, uh, how do I put it? It's kind of, it's a little bit gay. Uh, so, as you know, for context, I am toying with the idea of making. So, the Nameless Song is not a full romance, I will say that. It used to be a full romance, like a romantic fantasy, but it's kind of like it's taking a back seat for a couple of reasons. In part because the main story has become a political thing. Not even politics in the sense that most people think. Uh, I am rambling, I am sorry. But it's more like I really wanted to have a story about a trickster conning his way into peace. So that I can have a story that's basically about building up community. Like, it is about empowerment and community, but it's not a story about a chosen one. As you probably, to give you a better idea, I will say this. Remember how the dystopia used to be a huge thing, and even in a lot of fantasy, you have like a chosen one who is supposed to lead a war and fight the bad guys and topple a dictatorship or a tyranny or something like that. I didn't want to do that. Um, in part because that story's been told over and over again, in part because you probably don't want to hear yet another male doing it, and in part because I just don't. I saw it. I saw one really good example of that with the Hunger Games, but even then, it's like the ending was kind of like, heh, and even then, I'm not jiving with all the ripoffs of the Hunger Games. Let me. I do apologize. Let me try to make it even clearer. Every ripoff of the Hunger Games sucked. Okay? And that includes fantasy ones. And that is something that I see a lot of in fantasy spaces where you have like a chosen one who goes out and leads a war and basically Joan of Arc's it. And it's the same thing over and over again. Like, they struggle with politics. There's a clear black and white morality going on. You know who's the bad guy, and you know that the bad guy that you're going after the big bad government, and you know that there's going to be a final battle, and that the chosen one leads the final battle, and so on and so forth. Or even like maybe it's not about the government, maybe it's like about this one big bad evil person, and the chosen one is going after it. It's like it's still the same thing over and over again. It is the chosen one being either elevated to the status of and the folk hero, or the chosen one being badass at everything and inspiring people through brute force and just absolute prowess. And it's like, I have read so many stories of that, and I'm just so tired of it. And honestly, I don't find it to be realistic because in the real world we're kind of like, it's not about one person, it's about all of us together, you know? So it's sort of like, I wanted to have a story in which there's supposed to be a chosen one, but instead he kind of takes a look at that and he's like, that's not realistic. So he does inspire the people, but it's more like, hi, I'm basically going to talk sweet because that's all I can do. Um, but consequently, like, there are a lot of tropes that a lot of the Nameless Song is about fucking around with expectations and tropes and trying to make a fantasy that's fun for me to read. Because I'm just so fucking tired of a lot of trad developed fantasy out there. Like, do we really want another Isla Crown, for example? Do we want another Katniss Everdeen who's actually the best, better character and actually objectively good? Or do we want something that's like, Katniss Everdeen is an excellent character, but there have been like so many Katniss Everdeen knockoffs that it's like, do we want that again, or do we want other stories? Do we want a story about a character who's like, I am not a leader, however, I am a mediator. I can help direct you, and then you fight. So I don't plan on having, like, there will be a kind of sort of final battle, but Mick's not alone in it, and that's one thing that's going to happen. But also, so going back to what I was saying, like, the Nameless Song is not uh, chosen one romance fantasy. So it was in previous drafts. Uh, it was a story in which Mick and Eleanor tackled all of this and came out, like with that final battle and romance blossoming and so on and so forth. But it's kind of like taking a back seat to this entire trying to build up community based political fantasy. And I'm not going to say that I'm going to pull it off because I am an okay writer at best. I have been through this draft enough times and been through enough beta stages enough times to acknowledge that I am not that like I am not the best writer who can best writer. But I feel like that's not all. That's also kind of not the point. But so this all came from from me saying that it's a political fantasy, but it's not the kind of political fantasy that you're expecting. Because like I say this because my betas had expected a political fantasy, and they're probably, and I'm saying this kind of as a disclaimer because when you say political fantasy, you're like, oh, okay, so grimdark, kind of like, or gritty, or serious, or Game of Thrones. And I'm like, no, hope punk. It is a bunch of scrappy people putting together a community garden, that kind of vibe. And also a bunch of people putting together community efforts and going out and protesting, but it's the vibe of a protest, but actual magical battle. So like, there's hope in it, and there are people that are banding together and fighting as one instead of just one person leading the charge. It's more like that. So it's that. So it's hope punk, not political thriller. Uh, I really want to make that clear. So it's not romantasy either because I've decided, yeah, all this, like, one thing that I've decided and one thing that I've learned from my beta reads is that the more that you try to add into a story, the less of a focus that it has in the end. So a lot of this draft and the previous draft, draft 6, have been focusing on, okay, what can I take out and still have essentially the same characters and the same story, but easier to grasp and a lot more cohesive. And one of those things, unfortunately, was the entire vibe of a romance. Like, you will still have a lot of romantic elements. Nick is still very dedicated to Eleanor, but it's no longer a dual POV because I had to remove Eleanor's POV to the next book, essentially. And I had to simplify things. So there's not as much back and forth too. There's not as much of focus on, you know, this romantic subplots between them. I actually removed a lot of romantic subplots and either moved it to Eleanor's book, not to say that her story is going to be a romance either, but I will spoil this for you. I don't have too many plans for Eleanor's story, aka Eleanor's book. However, I do know that for a very long time she's going to be separated from Mick, and she's going to have to address who she is as a person in the same way that Mick is addressing who he is as a person right now. But she has been put in a position where not only is she like now a full adult, so she's finally pulled away from her family name, but she's also kind of pulled away from Mick's shadow as the right hand of the conductor, and she has a chance to explore what that means for her, who she is, and what her strengths are outside of other people. And it's going to be a very fun story to tell. But there is going to be, but that's why a lot of the angst is going to be in her book, because she's going to start off being like, I didn't realize that I was relying on so many other people to define who I am. Now I need to figure out who that is now, um, and what I can do as a person and as my own political figure. Uh, so there's going to be a lot of that in her book, uh, but that leaves Mix to establish the story, establish who he is as a character, establish the entire community theme. Uh, but getting back to Reuben, one of the things I've toyed with as a result is the idea that, you know, maybe there's some poly in here because I'm exploring. One important thing that I wanted to keep is Mick's identity as a biromantic ace. So, and sort of like give the book more of a queer undertone. Like, it's kind of funny. I was thinking about this earlier about how I don't uh, touch too heavily on Mick's identity because he is actually a trans character. I just don't talk about it that often because it doesn't come up that often. Like it comes up, you're told there's the implication of it early on in the book. Eventually, you will actually be told, yeah, he's had undergone more than one transformation in his life because he did use blood magic in order to become a man, but like physically. But in any case, it's not something that I bring up a lot because I also kind of wanted to normalize the idea that okay, he's a man, obviously, but consequently, I am afraid that this, you know, a lot of the queer parts aren't coming through as much as I want them to. So I do kind of want to preserve, you know, Mick is not straight. He is ace, and he's got an interesting relationship with gender. And this is one moment where it is, and it's delightful because Ruben, I have not actually figured out what Ruben is. I keep on saying, yeah, he's Aroace, but I do kind of like the idea that, you know, maybe he's biromantic himself because I do kind of like the idea that he ends up domestic with Mick and Eleanor, who do end up married, by the way, in the far future. But I'm so sorry I rambled for that entire 15 minutes about the book. That's the longest I have gone. Cryptic says, I'm working on coloring personas again. I feel like I did a decent amount. Hell yeah. Cryptic also says, yeah, ramble away. Yeah, Chosen One stories are just kind of anymore. And there's a reason why I have one, and it's a mess. Yeah, Chosen One narratives, it's like, it's fun because you know how they end. It's kind of like having a pre-made cookie cutter plot because there are certain tropes associated with Chosen One narratives that everyone goes through. But I think it's also because of that they're just sort of like eh. So I'm 100% with you. Anyway, here we go. 20 more minutes are on the clock. I promise that I will shut up for now, but, you know, poke me enough and I might read some of the oaths because I didn't actually explain what happened here. But yes, Reuben swears an oath of fealty to Mick, not only because Mick is the conductor, but also Reuben wants to be his knight, and it's supposed to come off as not only an act of loyalty from knight to king, but also kind of like Camelot with good ending. Let's just say, in other words, Lancelot gay for Arthur when. So yeah, I was having fun with that. That was the entire context. Poke me enough and I will read it. But in the next break, 18 minutes now. All right. That is another 20 minutes done. How did we do? So, first off, I did finally finish chapter 13. I finally filled in all the gaps. It is done, complete, and I can now move on to chapter 14, which means the rest of this stream might be spent transcribing and then going from there and seeing what happens. Maybe we'll get to bees. Maybe we won't. We'll see. But in the meantime, that is another 482 words edited slash added on to. So that is okay. I am a little bit excited because this next bit is going to feature the bees. Cryptic says a little more scattered. Finished up the main coloring on Hercules. Might change some of the colors, but he looks finished. Excellent. You've been working on Hercules for a bit, huh? So, or do you only work on these personas during streams? Because totally valid. Similar vein, I only work on Benjamin's sweater during D&D sessions, so that is why he still has yet to have a sweater. But, you know, a fun side update about the Benjamin sweater. I have gotten to the part where I'm just about ready to add in, or to start in on the hood. I'm going to have to set it up before the D&D session though, because it looks a little bit complicated. It involves picking up stitches, and I'm not quite sure how I understand the instructions. But there is progress being made. It is now near long enough to cover him, so I feel like I did the wrong size of puppy sweater. But then again, I've also been told by my mother, who is a knitter, actually, that this is the wrong yarn that I've been using for a sweater. So it is sweater version Mark 1. So we'll see what happens after. Or in other words, I'm learning, and I will take what I've learned onto sweater number 2. Anyway, Cryptic says, I sometimes poke at them outside of the streams. I just have the attention span of a gnat and leave things unfinished for a long time. Totally, okay, so it's, I get it, 100%. I think we've had similar conversations. Just about your writing, not necessarily about the art. So I understand completely now. Thank you for letting me know about that, though. That is also, I just realized that neither of us answered the icebreaker, and it is a good thing that we don't. um, Speaking of distractions, I'm now looking down at the rash, and it was like starting to go all the way around my wrist, but I think it's receding actually. So I just need to exfoliate and just continue moisturizing. I'm sorry, I just kind of, it's been one of those weeks, to be honest. I think I just need another break. A real one instead of one that isn't like, we're taking a break, but it's also going to be a storm, so your nerves are still going to be on edge. Or, yeah, you get it one day off, but you have to do all the things at the same time. So, Cryptic says, I didn't answer because I need tips for beating distractions. BRB, gotta feed the cats. Totally cool. I'll have my headphones so I can listen, though. My only My only tip is a writing distraction free tip, and that's you need to get away from the computer. Take yourself out, like literally change your scenery, go outside and find that is why I do a lot of my writing in cafes, and why I bought Clara, who I mean, I do use Clara in cafes, but I don't use her as regularly as I should. But ultimately, yes, that is why Clara is in my apartment, because I need to remove myself from a computer entirely. Phone is fine because I can't use phones for long periods of time. Or I can, but I can't do it for like writing. So I might do like play a little game and then go back to like an hour of writing, and I can switch between those two things. But I just cannot use phones for too long. I'm that kind of millennial, thankfully. But that is my tip, really. It's just change your scenery, get away from the computer, take a notebook to a cafe, or if you must take, or if you have the means, take a typewriter of some kind, like a word processor. There are definitely some that you can buy for on the cheap. Clara was only about like $90. And the more distance you put between yourself and where you spend most of your time doom scrolling, the more likely you'll be able to sit down and write. But that said, I am delayed. I'm also looking at the first words of chapter 14. I might change them because the first words are in and out. I'm like, I just spent the better part of this chapter being like, Mick is having a minor existential crisis because, like, don't get him wrong. Like, there are some bits here that I do want to read aloud. Like, for example, uh, where is it? Mick swallowed and gods did that hurt. Did Ruben know how this came off, or was Mick reading too much into it? In any case, Mick clenched his teeth and willed his heart to calm. He hadn't felt this way since he'd realized just how far he'd go to make Eleanor happy. It wasn't that he never thought his heart could thunder as hard for a man. He could appreciate the aesthetic beauty of the airs of Southwind as much as he could the heiresses. It was just that he never gave it that much thought. All he had room for was Eleanor. Or so he thought until that second, apparently. Uh, so yeah, it's like it's kind of funny because sort of like yeah, Mick is very much a-okay with his identity. Like yeah, absolutely. He is biromantic. That's not the issue. The issue is he thought he wasn't poly until now. But I guess he's surprised. I do also kind of want to read the oath because it's definitely going to be my favorite bit that I worked on this week. It's definitely going to be my answer for Faveline Friday. But it starts off with listen, Ruben began. I don't know how much about you or Nora, but I know you both came from Eldana, which ain't done this in years. I know you're probably scared. Mick nodded slowly. Where was he going with this? That's putting it lightly, which is why I want to make this official. And then he lowered himself to one knee. Actually, scrambled is a good one. Well done. No, wait. Mick stumbled backwards, claws scrambling on rock. He could feel his face burn, and his eyesight went hazy around the edges. Yet Reuben seemed to notice none of this. Instead, he put one hand over his heart and looked dead into Mick's eyes. On the honor of my clan, and in the name of the god of creation, he said with zero trace of that backwater accent he'd been using that entire time. I swear my loyalty to you above the speaker and offer myself to you as your guard. I swear I will carry out your every order and uphold your word above all others in sanctuary. I grant my own hands to you to act as you see fit, or to slay me shall I fall. Shall I fail. Mick wanted to look away, he really did, but the more Reuben went on, the more he fell into Reuben's sapphire gaze, into his rumbling words, into something. His heart thundered within him until his ears rang with a mixture of the song and his own blood, and still he couldn't look away. Oh gods, what was this? What was Reuben saying? What was he doing? What was all this talk about orders and acts and hands? What was all he could gasp. And just like that, the old Reuben returned. All oath I heard about. Luminite, I admit, but supposedly conductors had guards, just like your queens have knights. Uh, for no apparent reason, Reuben just has like this backwater accent. Kind of like it's almost like a southern drawl. Um, and nobody knows where he got it because nobody in Eldana speaks like that, and nobody in Sanctuary does either. It just comes up, and I love it so much. I love Ruben so much. He's such a doofus. But does Ruben know what this means? That is a great fucking question. I am inclined to believe in. I'm inclined to believe no, because at some point, further on down, he says that Miriam was this for Judith. Like, so there's a concept in a draconic culture wherein the dragon who finds the conductor, excuse me, the dragon who finds the conductor becomes the conductor's guard. And what that means is basically a personal bodyguard, a guide to dragon culture, their right hand. But Eleanor is already that. Right now in the text, she's called a Kaelin, which is the draconic word for mate. But I'm kind of thinking about changing that because conductor has no, it has a direct translation. So like, it's weird. But if I do change it, it's called a muse. So mate, conductor muse. So Mick already has a right hand in his muse, Eleanor. But what Reuben is swearing is, yes, I will protect you. Yes, I will be here for you. Yes, I will do whatever you need me to do. And maybe also Eleanor. So that's why he's trying to say. But he's also saying, yeah, Miriam was this for Judith. And what he might not realize is that Judith and Miriam were lovers. So that is why Miriam was that for Judith. Uh, but I also kind of like to hang the implication that maybe Ruben does know exactly what he's talking about because it's also not a secret that Miriam was Judith's lover. So I kind of want to leave all these questions about Ruben and how much he actually knows and understands up in the air because it makes his character funnier and a lot more fun. So you're welcome. I don't know who's actually going to read this book. I do hope that you enjoy Ruben, and I do hope that you enjoy the entire question of how much is Ruben really meaning it the way that Mick thinks that he's meaning it. So with Mick and Eleanor, the will they or won't they is just because there's definite tension. You can definitely tell that they're attracted to each other. They just won't say it because of class reasons and all kinds of other interpersonal reasons. So both parties are smart enough to know. And secret and slight spoiler, yes, in this draft, Eleanor knows that Mick has a crush on her. She just doesn't know whether or not she reciprocates. And I say this because it's funnier this way. She is psychic. This has been established well in advance. And basically, Mick thinks he's being sly by being very careful about hiding things from her and only expressing himself whenever he's not looking directly at him, even though he should know she can sense his emotions constantly as a baseline. So it's kind of like saying that Mick is smart, but he's also an idiot. And that's where the comedy between them occurs. Uh, but they're both mature enough to know or they're both put together enough to know, yes, they both have feelings. They fully understand. Mick has just developed feelings for Ruben because apparently Mick has realized he has two hands. Technically four, but who's counting? But he's not sure he wants to act on them because he already loves Eleanor. So there's his side of the will they, won't they. But also, Ruben, on his side, I am leaving it all a question about whether or not he knows or even fully understands. So this entire love triangle right here, this polyamory thing going on and slowly developing, is going great. And there are also implications about Ruben and Eleanor because, as you notice, Ruben did give her a nickname and she didn't immediately kill him. But we also don't get to see Eleanor and Ruben's interactions from their perspective just yet. Wait until the next book. But yeah, that's all so far fun. Anyway, chapter 14, will we get to the bees? Good question. I hope so. Yay. Also, welcome back, Cryptic. Cryptic says I already enjoy him so far, so I'm sure I'm sure he's going to be an absolute delight when I read it. Thank you. Hopefully someday this will actually become an actual book. But last 20 minutes. I will shut up now. Good luck, everybody. that is the last sprint. How did we do? I'm going to transcribe half of what I wrote. I'll probably head off to a shower not too long after this, and then continue onwards. Hopefully, the shower will relax me a little bit. But in any case, I had gotten 601 words down. So, all in all, a good run. All three sprints today. But yes, I am very much. It's hard to believe that it's already 10:30. I kind of don't want to crawl into bed. Um, I admit I haven't been feeling too much up for sleeping lately because of health reasons, but we will. It will have to be a thing that I end up doing just after like some chilling, I suppose. We'll see how much chilling ends up happening in any case. Cryptic says, started exporting some of my writing again. Got distracted rereading the Christmas party piece I wrote with Isa and Adonis. I mean, on the other hand, that's also fun, like reading your old work. I have to dig up the Arcadia and read it at some point. Or even like Always the Bridesmaid. And just sort of like, because you want to read over what you did and just sort of reacquaint yourself with what you're capable of and where you left off. So, totally understandable. That is a good distraction, in my opinion. But man, um, I will also say that, again, I'm kind of stalling because I kind of don't want to do things, but also I'm letting that final timer run out, and I really want to do that for the experience points. Haha. Uh, Incidentally, if you are thinking about getting what's on your screen, it's called Spirit City Lo-Fi Radio, Lo-Fi Sessions. And I highly recommend it. It is a great productivity tool. You will get to collect little monsters like the little bee that you see floating there. That is Benjamin in this universe. I have a bee in every universe, or at least I'm getting there. Um, but yes, I have my little Benjamin in this universe as well. But the reason why I bring this up also is because they finally announced uh, the launch date. There we go. The launch date of the new DLC, which is Enchanted Garden, and it will be happening on the 23rd. So we will get more landscapes and more spirits because hell yeah, I'm getting it. See, my philosophy for right now, yes, I'm still paying off dipshit stuff, but that is one good thing that happened today. For all of my scrambling and stress that I had undergone previous weeks, I have just gotten the notice that that delinquent loan was paid in full, or is now listed as paid in full on all of my reports and whatnot. And it's sort of like getting hit multiple times because I have multiple notifications set up to help monitor my credit because for various reasons, not only to kind of like give myself the motivation to keep on paying off dipshit's debt, but also kind of like I don't trust dipshit. uh, that's all I'll say. I'm not going to breathe anything into existence. Which is kind of funny because I just got done writing a part where Mick is also doing the same, not wanting to breathe something into existence. But it's great to see like all of these bureaus and organizations be like, "Hey, yeah, congrats, you paid this off, and you're well on your way to recovering financially." And it's happening little by little. Um, it is one good thing, and between that and seeing family and hearing them say, we're here to help you and we will help you, it's there are still a lot of things that need to be fixed. Um, I am having baby's first sleep study, baby's first sleep study in couple of weeks. It's actually going to be Saturday night. And I'm a little bit excited because it's another thing that needs to be fixed. A lot of health issues need to be fixed before I can really relax. Like I said, I haven't been feeling too well, but it's a combination of the stress and probably things I've been letting go. But, 2026 is the year that I'm going to be working on myself and getting things done and making things happen. And I'm hanging in there as best as I can. At the very least, it was also kind of fun to introduce my family to Benjamin. And they understand that Benjamin is not a thing to toss into the trash. Benjamin is special to me. And weirdly enough, they were completely okay with it. And it's like, I spent so much time like beating myself down and just sort of like being afraid of all kinds of things because I was not experiencing a great childhood, essentially. For those of you who don't know, I had endured a lot of physical and emotional abuse from a lot of different parties. I have a lot of trauma, and uh, it's it's like every time that I want to work on it, something happens that prevents me from working on it. But in any case, I am working on all kinds of things slowly but surely, and I'm hanging on as long as I can. But it's a relief to know that Benjamin's going to be okay, and it's a relief to know that I'm going to be okay. Uh, that things are making progress, and I things can be solved. Uh, Part of the reason why I had been putting off a lot of my health is because when I was a few years ago, I started feeling like constant nausea and whatnot, and I would go to doctors and they would just kind of like brush me off. At one point, even earlier than that, I had suffered from a kidney infection, and the doctor, my then primary care doctor, had been very incompetent about diagnosing it and helping me, even though I was like, hey, I have a persistent fever. That's not okay. Um, so it's sort of like I know that I need to go to doctors and get things resolved because I'm in pain or things aren't going great. But like, I also have like this fear that, I'm just going to be tossed around and then nothing's going to change, which is dumb. But in any case, this is serious enough to be like, hey, I need to go and talk to people. So I did find a good doctor, and he is actually being proactive about a lot of things because he wants me to be able to take medication, but he needs to be able to fight my insurance in order to let my insurance or make my insurance uh, say yes, I should have the medication. And if I get the medication, then so many things would be resolved, and I'd love that. I don't know how many things can be resolved because my doctor's under the impression that a lot of it involves. Well, he's not like a lot of it involves weight. He is of the impression that a lot of it is PCOS, which, yes, I am diagnosed with that. And yes, apparently it causes a lot of issues I didn't realize it actually caused. So I kind of trust him because he's like, yeah, did you know that all these things that you didn't even realize were, you didn't realize that these were related? Well, surprise, they are. Like, for example, did you know that car sickness when you're young is actually a symptom that, hey, you're going to develop PCOS? Uh, and I was like, I did not realize that that was a thing. But there's medication out there that would be able to directly treat this. And if that's the case, then I want to be able to take it. And I want to be able to feel a lot more like what I did in my 20s, except for with less period pain. Because when I was in my 20s, just felt like I could withstand a lot of stuff. It's just that for what for 1 week out of the month, I would have crippling pain and incredible blood loss. But TMI. But I keep on rambling about the health stuff. But that's like it's been going on for since December. Like I haven't felt right, and I'm pretty sure it's because of the new meds that I'm taking. So I need to have a talk with my other doctor and see if I can at least get that changed before my main doctor is like, hey, yeah, we can move forward with this. So there's that. That and it's like there's this constant thing where I'm like, I need to get sleep and I need to, are these symptoms I'm feeling like symptoms of this or that? It's like I've been wound up because I don't really have anybody else to rely on right now, and that's it's just me. And it's like that's difficult. Um, like it's very valid to be one of those people who don't have anybody else, but I've I've had this moment. I've had this discussion, so I won't bore you with it again. Anyway, where was I? Right, good things are happening. Things are getting solved. Right, the philosophy and the reason why I brought all this up. Right now, I am kind of like poor and fight and going back and forth between doctors and paying copays and shit like that. Like the sleep study will cost me $1,000, but like if it's under $10 and it would make me happy, just go and get the fucking thing. That's my philosophy right now. Um, or if I absolutely need it for the apartment, like for example, I just bought new soap that smells good, but it's because the scent won't react to this my skin, as far as I know. And I also bought myself honey dippers and all kinds of other stuff. Over the weekend, I bought tea. It's like I've been buying things, but it's like stuff that I kind of need around the apartment or that would improve my life in some way. So like, there's that. But also, I know I say it all this it kind of does make me sound a little bit privileged, but the other thing is I can't stop like I can't be afraid of living and I can't be afraid of spending a little bit of something on myself. Would I love to have the money to give to other people? Yes, but I don't quite at the moment. I'm just keeping myself afloat and that's it. That's how it goes, I think. Like I know that sounds selfish, but you know, it's like it's so dumb. Like I'm talking about these things as if they're yeah, it's selfish of me to have to say that this is a thing that I need, but like chamomile tea to help me sleep, and soap that doesn't react to my skin, and honey dippers so that I can have the honey that I bought ages ago, and so that I can eat something and have a little bit of joy in my life. Like, God damn it, Jax. Those are things that are actually things that you need. Stop justifying things, especially to people who don't care, or at least who don't mind me doing this. But anyway, I have rambled a lot. I haven't even talked about like all of the decisions I've made on when it comes to writing and pen names and whatnot because I have been thinking about that. But that's what bringing that up on Blue Sky is for. And speaking of which, let me just go over the schedule real quick. So this weekend we are going to go. So nothing tomorrow or Friday. No special streams. I'm not sure if I'll be up for it Friday, and tomorrow's D&D night, so probably not. Uh, the 21st, it will be our usual tea rights. That's 8:30 in the morning, Eastern time. So if you enjoyed the stream, first off, fascinating. Second off, fascinating, and also thank you. Second off, if you enjoyed the stream and want to do it again, we always have a Saturday morning stream for the lovelies on the kind of sort of in Europe, but not really. It's more people in the West Coast who somehow come in. Don't worry about it. Anyway, it's 8:30 in the morning on Saturdays. So 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time Saturday mornings. The next session will be the 21st this coming Saturday. Then the next night rides, if you can't do that, totally cool. Keep an ear out though, because we do have some time this coming weekend. So maybe there might be some stream on Sunday. We'll have to wait and see if I'm up for it. But keep an ear on my account. That's jackswolfrights.bsky.social for the time being. Also look on bsky.social for that. Uh, if we have another stream, I will always announce it there. I never announce it on YouTube. So if you want extra streams, go to my Blue Sky. Otherwise, the next night rates will guaranteed be on the 25th. You will catch us at the same bat time, the same bat channel that is right here on this channel on YouTube, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday the 25th. So you got all that? Next stream guaranteed. It's going to be T Rights at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time on the 21st. Next stream guaranteed at night will be the 25th, Wednesday the 25th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and we might have special streams between those two times depending on how I feel. Keep an ear out on Blue Sky for that. That said, let me go back to the chat real quick because I have been ignoring it through that entire ramble. But Cryptic says, I love the stuff with Issa and Adonis because, like, Happy Sunshine Boy and Stubborn Grouch, lol. Heck yeah. We love those pairings. Hell yeah to Grumpy Sunshine, right? Cryptic says, I promised myself I would get the DLCs one at a time, but I might get the Garden and Train ones at the same time. The great thing about Spirit City, not to enable you, is that everything about it is cheap. The base game, quote unquote game, is very cheap on Steam. Like, I think it's regularly about $20. I got it for like $7 on sale, plus the DLCs. And the DLCs themselves are only like a couple dollars a piece. So if you happen to have $4 spare, you can totally get 2 DLCs at a time. I would highly recommend like at least the train one because the cooking one's not bad. I do like the kitchen. I like the aesthetic, but the train is like it has more to it. It doesn't have more pets. I do think that the kitchen one has more pets or at least more puzzles to solve to get pets. But the train one has both of them actually have 2 environments, but there's like an exterior and interior, 2 completely different vibes. There are pets to collect. There's a lot more furniture, so for sure it's worth it. The cooking DLC has more table items and more. Well, it also has a lot of furniture too for the kitchen, obviously, but it has more clothing. So if you're into the glamour part, the kitchen one is a lot more lucrative. But if you want like outdoorsy settings and you want outdoorsy vibes and 2 completely different, separate concepts of space, then the train one's worth it. But I am also very excited about the garden one for sure. Cryptic also says, regarding the sleep study, I hope it goes well. Partner's planning on doing one soonish. Gotta get through their wrist surgery Friday first, though. Sleep study specifically, just to make sure I'm clear. Absolutely. I'm absolutely wishing your partner a speedy recovery with that surgery, for sure. And also the sleep study. It's supposed to be pretty chill. The center that I'm going to, I've gotten the materials for it, and they describe it as like, hey, this is a hotel-like space. You get an actual bed. There's a TV in there. There's a private bathroom. All you're going to do is just lie down and when you can start to sleep. We'll direct you on how the sleep study works, but mostly you'll just be hooked up. And my mom, who works in the medical field, added on saying like, yeah, it's very relaxing. You are literally just going there to sleep, and more than likely the tech who's with you will probably be asleep too. So like you're not going to be bothered. So I'm going to be bringing Benjamin with me because he goes with me everywhere. I do not spend more than an hour. I don't even spend more than a half an hour without him coming with me just because I've already had several fire scares. There was, we're up to number 5, by the way, for times. No, wait. I think it's 6 for times that the fire alarm has gone off or there's been rumors of shenanigans happening in this building. Luckily, there was only one actual time where something for, well, actually, 2 actual times where something for sure happened and the fire department had to be called. But still, that is like 2 more times than any other place that I've lived in. Like, normally, whenever I've lived in a place, the fire alarm would go off monthly or repeatedly only because somebody was dumb and started smoking in their apartment, hotboxing their apartment essentially. But I've never actually had this many issues before. And I kind of like, yeah, no, Benjamin is my most important object. He goes with me everywhere. So he's going with me to the sleep study, even if he doesn't go into the bed, just because I don't know how big it is, and I don't know if that would affect the sleep study. And also, I am very strict about making sure he doesn't touch any kind of beds when I'm taking him traveling. I'm weird like that. Uh, but you can imagine why. I'm not going to speak it into existence. But that having been said, I am kind of looking forward to it just because I want to be able to know what's going on when I sleep. Like, I do wake up sometimes in pain or with dry mouth, as if I've been sleeping wrong or I've been snoring or something like that, or I've been angling myself wrong, and I'd love to know. Um, and, you know, it's one step closer to building a profile that would make the insurance company say, yes, you do need the medication, because basically there are certain risk factors that would make the insurance company say, yes, you do need the medication, but I need to like check off the check boxes, as it were. Anyway, what else? It is expensive though. Like I said, I have to pay $1,000 out of pocket for it, but that is what a payment plan is for, and it's medical, so it's necessary, and it just means that I have to be smart about what I do with my paychecks, essentially, and ask for help. Is like that. I think that is the biggest lesson. Like if you have the somebody who can give you help, ask for help. So, um, Cryptic says it's hard to get past the expectation that you'll be ignored. Absolutely. Uh, Cryptic says hope Saturday goes well. I'll probably be missing that one. Totally cool. Um, I am going to reach out to somebody about plans for Saturday, but if there ends up being no plans, then we might end up doing another 4 sprint session like we did the last time. So if you wanted to walk in at the tail end like last Saturday, totally cool. Looking forward to it if you do. If not, I'd see you on Wednesday. Cryptic also says, I just love trains because I was the train kid, lol. You will love the train DLC then. Like, it is, like, you'd never see the engine, unfortunately, but you do have the train car in the back, and train sounds are actually a built in part of Spirit City as it is, but you get to have some place to put it that moves, and it's a train with a caboose that you can sit in, and it's cool. Anyway, I am not going to hold people hostage any longer. I do thank you so much for coming in, Cryptic, and thank you, anybody else who might be listening in. It's always a lot of fun to hold these, and honestly, tonight was really good. It's something that I definitely needed, just because uh, stress and anxiety have been kind of winding me up, as I keep on saying throughout the stream, and knowing that there are people out there who are, who just want to hang out, even if y'all are text on a screen, it means a lot to know that I'm not alone. So thank you for being here with me, and thank you for listening to my rambles. Thank you for just hanging out for these past couple of hours. And whether you drop in on another one or this is it, hopefully it's not it, hopefully you come back to another one. Just take care of yourselves, hydrate, get plenty of rest, and know that I love you. And Cryptic says, I hope you can rest soon. Same here. Like I said, I'm going to take a shower and then see if the FC is on, and then probably hang out with them while I finish transcribing what I've written over the weekend. But eventually, I will make it to a bed and I will force myself to sleep. But I will take care of myself as much as I can, for sure. Anyway, thank you again for coming. Love y'all. And love you, Cryptic. And I will see you on the next stream. Good night.